So for our first warm-up exercise, super simple, air squats. And you're just going to want to go down to a depth that's comfortable for you while making sure that your knees aren't pushing outward away from your body and keeping yourself nice and even going down and back up. Our second exercise is high knees. Now I did kind of slow the video down just a teeny tiny bit because I was going super fast. However, you just want to do at least 45 seconds to 60 seconds of this here to get that heart rate up and get those legs and hips warmed up and getting ready for the workout. For our third warm up, we're going to go ahead and lay down on the floor, back nice and flat, hands by your sides to give you some stability. And then we're just going to bridge our hips up and down. You'll notice that I am pausing just a little bit there up at the top. And I'm just giving myself a quick 2 count to make sure that we're activating those glutes as well as getting the hamstrings and quads ready for the workout. Daniel, back at it again with the air squats. Starting round 2, back at it with air squats. And here, of course, you guys can totally modify by adding some weights, adding a band for resistance, putting your feet closer together. Whatever you want to do to challenge yourself. You can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can turn it into a pulse. Totally up to you guys. But remember, this is the warm-up. And here we go back into high knees. Once again, down to the floor for floor bridges. And again, this is ending round 2 of the warm-up, and you'll see that I go through and do one more warm-up round. So for the first exercise, it's a wall sit with leg extension. And you can see here that I push my hands up against the wall just to give myself a little bit of stability. Because you're alternating your legs, you will find that you need to have your feet a little bit closer to center, more so than your normal wall sit. With your normal wall sit, you want to have your feet apart from each other. Here, you're going to have them fairly close to each other, so try and have your hands help you balance out so you don't tip over. For this second exercise, we go right into reverse lunges. Now, these can be a little bit difficult for folks, so if going down into your reverse lunges is causing you a little bit more disbalance than you would like, you can totally switch this out for your normal regular forward lunges is totally fine. However, I find that especially with beginners, it's a bit easier to control where your knee is in relation to your toes. In other words, it is easier to keep your knee in front, behind your toes, than letting it go in front, which a lot of people tend to do with the forward lunge. And for the last movement, we're taking our booty bands here and holding onto this wall here for a little bit of support in doing our abductors. So you want to make sure that you start with the band just losing its resistance. So you see that I don't pull my feet all the way back together and then pull away. And trust me, it's a very small movement, but just pulling up just a little bit there with that band resistance on it really, really activates those hips, and you will feel it. Here I did 30 seconds on each side, and you're more than welcome to do it for a whole minute, but I find that especially for activating, these 30 seconds work just fine. Here we're going to go over some stretches. So we're going to start on the floor, kneeling. Now this one might be a little difficult, so if you want, you can totally lean back and put your hands on your ankles, especially just starting to get into this stretch. It can be really difficult to reach all the way down to the ground, as you'll see me do here in a second. And I'm pushing my hips forward, so I'm pushing my glutes and my hips forward rather than trying to push myself all the way back. Here I deepen the stretch by going a little bit further down and putting my hands onto the ground. Ooh, yeah. I was feeling it there. And again, if it gets a little bit too intense, you need to come out, that's totally fine. Go ahead and go back up to your ankles and just push those hips forward like you see me do here. For the second stretch I wanted to show you guys, you can use a chair or a bench or anything up high, even your bed can be used as assistance. And then you're going to prop your little toe up there. And you can use the wall to help you balance, because sometimes this can be a little bit difficult balance-wise. And then just push your hips forward, just as you saw me do in the previous stretch. Push your hip forward. And once you've done about 30 seconds on one side, go ahead and pull your foot back down to the ground, switch legs, and repeat this stretch on the other side. The final stretch I wanted to share with you guys uses a door jamb or a towel or doorway, whatever you can use to grab onto, to help push your hips away from the wall that you're using or the point of contact. Sometimes I use a towel for this. And you just want to push away, especially after those abductors. Your hips are going to be really, really tight, and this helps open all that up.